Hey guys, I hope you're all doing I know I typed earlier this morning, want to walk through nature, we'll talk more astro, but it took a little, some things were coming up here this morning. It took a little while to sort of get up and out of the house, and so I ended up figuring, you know what, let's just do it indoors. So you guys, I hope you're all doing well, and yeah, the messages have just been coming through like we had a bit of an astro talk last night, but this is a channel message as well, of course, and there are things that I feel guided to chat about here. Number one is, these are the messages that have been coming through, and I was meditating here earlier this morning. Well, first of all, there's a lot coming up at this time, and I want to reiterate this. Those of you who've been following, you're watching a few astro talks here and there, you're probably familiar with this concept of the retrogrades. But sometimes it can be kind of hard and disillusioning when we're moving through a retrograde and we're actively interacting with people who, I don't want to say people, but frequencies that are not entirely, let's say, aware of what's going on in terms of astrology. And so, how do we describe this? Society can get kind of kooky when we've got retrogrades, and people who are not in, again, I don't want to say people, but frequencies that are not fully aware and self-aware when it comes to astrology. Sometimes when we're interacting with those frequencies during a retrograde, specifically, Spirit wants us to come up here in particular as a message. It can get kind of weird. And I think I was talking about this like a week ago or so. Yeah, we were talking specifically about, during this period where we've got this really heavy retrograde, where Mercury just dips into pre-shadow on the new moon in Virgo of all placements astrologically, amidst other alignments overlapping. Hello, Kenyetta. Hello, everyone. Things are definitely, coming up, and they're being accented. But what was the note there? I got a little distracted. So we were talking about this, and so this is key. Totally lost my train of thought. Very odd. Okay. Let's clear it and ground. Yes. So Mercury is retro, pre-shadow. Yeah. So this is something strange though. Now, what I want to bring up, is that, we were saying you want to, during this time, your arsenal is keeping aware of your energy space. And I personally would limit contact. It sounds horrible, but I would limit contact with people who just don't want to pay mind to, we'll say astrology, but the universe. Sorry. Yeah. And it's love and light, but people go through their cycles. But if they're in a certain cycle, you have to remember that you're also in your cycle. Listen, let me give you my personal experience, okay? I've just been observing that I've been going through certain transformations and having greater epiphanies and whatnot. And then it's like, I'll say I'm interacting with certain people that maybe at a certain point, they're like, oh yeah, they're like definitely on this like bandwagon of like, yeah, definitely, like this is how it is, and yeah, they believe in energy and whatnot, and I'm just like breaking it down very simply because some people may be as well experiencing this, and from this particular like perspective, maybe like 1 minute your friends are like, really so-called in alignment, and then it's like I'm noticing that people are going through their changes. This is understood, this is understandable, okay, but then it's like their whole vibe changes. You have to know when to also drop off the ball as well, because they may try to bring you along with them with where they're going. Now, it doesn't mean that they're not a good person. It doesn't mean that they're not a positive influence in your life in some sense. It's just you have to know where you stand and where you remain in your power and in your light. So yeah, because I've just been finding that people, it's like they're getting activated. They're like kind of like zombies. It's like they're not in their power. They go up and they go down. And as a light worker, you have to remember that it also doesn't define you, right? What people go through. Okay, we talked about this in another video. Like, we talked about this. Let's clear it and ground. We talked about this in another video where we were specifically highlighting, like, I don't know why I keep losing my train of thought. Give me a second. It might be the sound of this. Turn this off. Okay, so yes. Let's clear the energy. Totally totally lost my train of thought. What? Well, this is a sign, like, you know, because, okay, so let's clear it. Yeah. It's really important to just kind of circle back to you, because people are people. They're going to be experiencing what they experience. It's really important to not feel that, yeah, we're saying energy doctors. We are earth doctors here on earth, right? What does that really mean? Okay, and we talked about this in another video at AstroTalk. You know, an actual doctor, they don't just take biology courses, you guys. To be a doctor, they have to also take, right, like the classes that allow them to operate in a setting in which doctors operate, which is also psychologically to prepare you to become a doctor. How do you hold differentiation with the person that you're so-called healing? That's why they say doctors should not operate on people they know personally, privately, right? Their family members, friends. Now, you guys, like, I'm just getting this very clearly. We have to have really good boundaries here. We have to have really good boundaries here. Okay, when it comes to our space and our role as a doctor, sometimes it's more helpful to step back. And it's, yeah, and I'm getting these messages here that have been coming through for quite some time. Thank you for tuning in, Kurt Henderlight, for your donation, love and light. Have a lovely day, you as well, and night. You know, life as well. You know, this is a storyline that we've been chatting on where, you know, it really, I don't know why I keep getting distracted, like very distracted though. Okay, like, I don't know what it is, but maybe it's a message here from Spirit. Like, how exactly what, Christina? I'm looking at the chat really quickly here. It's like strange. Like, it's very strange. I usually am able to keep my focus. Like, oh, it's very simple. You have to detach the ego from the storyline. Oh, right. This is what I want to say. So, okay, Christina says boundaries. How do we boundaries? You have to detach the ego. The ego is the only thing holding on to a space that doesn't align with you. So if you know what, Hector is pissing me off and he's lowering my vibration, but I'm still hanging out with him. Why would you be doing that? The higher self definitely is not respecting that storyline right there, right? So it's a matter of understanding where we are still invested in that space from the ego's perspective. So let's backtrack. Now, what we were talking about in a prior Astro talk was the focus on conversations. I'm going to pull up this link because we talked heavily about this, and coincidentally that video ended up it was like we thought it was live and it wasn't. Anyways, let's clear the ground. And so there were like not many people watching. It was from about 6 days ago, and it's called Conversations. Let me get the link. Who's this? Marisa, thank you for tuning in for your donation. Very kind, you guys. Love and light. And that's the link. So that is the link to the video where we talk about Spirit was warning. Okay, like, let's clear it. Okay, now you might find it again, it's not about demonizing people that are not in their light. All right, Hector can't have like a high vibe conversation right now. Let me take time off from Hector. Is he gonna get pissed about me needing space? I'm hearing that as well. Or is he gonna try and come through and judge me for needing to do what I need to do? Well, that's an important.
It's 2:00.
Observation, and it's not related to time and space. It's related to energy. It's not because I need 2 minutes or 2 hours or 2 days or 2 months or 2 years. Okay, if we really want to get into it, 2 lifetimes apart from Hector. It's a matter of, are we in the flow state in that space? And if we feel like we need to take time apart from it, as sovereign beings, we should be allowed to move where we feel we need to move to be able to be in greater flow. If someone is holding you to a certain conversation in a very particular way at a certain time, that's ego. And when you're feeling uncomfortable, you don't know what it is. It's like, I don't know why I'm like turned off by Hector right now. And I'm just using Hector as an example, whatever it is, right? Whatever happens to be for you, or however, And it's ultimately also part of ourselves, right? We say, well, I just don't know what it is. I just need space. If somebody is not going to respect you in doing that very thing for yourself, which is maybe something, I don't know what it is that I need to do for myself, but I need to figure it out. If they're going to, look at the reaction. Let's clear it around. And it's, again, not to demonize that person, but it is to just kind of recalibrate. And this is the beauty of heavy retrograde cycles. It's the beauty of astrology, period. It allows us, these different cycles, they bring certain things up for us. So it's a reflection point ultimately, and it allows us to see really, really clearly, like, what is it that I really want? What is it that I really feel? But that's a process of figuring that out. And sometimes we're in situations or, that are unknowingly. Okay, it's, again, not about, like, it's not that Hector knows he's doing what he's doing, right? It's not like Hector's, like, got his badge on, like, hi, I lower, like, vibe, what's up? No, not necessarily, right? But, sometimes it's those moments where it's, think about it, like, even you, maybe it's like, I don't know what I'm craving, and then you go in the supermarket and you just find certain things, and then you eat that thing and it's like, whoa, that's exactly what I needed. That's what I was craving. Sometimes we don't know, but we have to have the space to explore, okay, when we do feel out of alignment. Now, I also want to say that this might be related to your career. It might be related to your the environment you're in. And for those of you who are like, but I'm, like, in a difficult situation, like, you have to clear and ground the notion that you are anywhere and that you are anything. Okay. At the end of the day, you're energy, and the universe rides on that frequency plane. So the universe will adjust to where you think you're at, where you tell yourself you're at, where you talk about yourself. Okay. As a certain space. Okay. Or of orbit. Interesting. Experience. Okay. Little abstract. Damn, Mars and Libra right out the gate, and we're getting in with these. This almost feels very Neptunian. Well, Sun opposed Neptune yesterday. Okay, but beyond that, let's clear it. Oh, great, you finally stepped out. Yeah, and so you never know. You never know. Like, but the important thing with that is just listening to your intuition. Okay, and sometimes your ego can fight you on that. Like, no, but, like, that's my friend. Like, really? Like, I should step away? Like, wait, really? It's not good for us to be talking, like, it's not anything. It's what you feel. Do you feel for some reason, like, you know what? I just, you know what? I don't want to be spending time with my family right now. Love and light. You know how hard this is? This can be the very thing, though, that you need to do. And I'm not saying anything, right? What is family? Family can be objects in your home, right? And it's all what you make it. But this is an example. And let's clear it around. And sure, you might come under the razor, like, people may look at you as like, oh, like, weird. You want to be alone? Strange. Oh, something must be so wrong, everyone. Let's, like, gather all our shit and, like, go save her. You guys, this is sometimes where people are operating on their reality. And you have to, so I'm going to give you a straight up example, okay? In my own life, on my spiritual journey, I had to be okay with detaching from the expectations that others had of me in my own life. And that's on a subtle wavelength. My family is actually pretty open-minded relatively. But there are still people operating in the fear space, and they don't even realize it. And it is something that is karmic, that is ancestral. Okay. It's like, oh my God, like, why are they doing something out of the norm? Why are they doing something so is it great grandmother day? Oh, great grandmother. I thought you said that it is a happy great grandmother day. Okay. Great grandmother day. So let's go on. Now, this is something, though, very necessary. Like, think about it when animals, right, are in pain and they need to heal from something. What do? Or when they're dying, what do they need? What do they do? It's not like they read the handbook of how to, like, heal as, like, Raccoons 101. Like, how do raccoons, like, deal with, like, their tail getting, like, scuffed up? I don't know what that's only to. I'm seeing a raccoon with, like, a hurt tail. What do, you guys? They retreat. Let's clear it around. They go into nature. Yeah. And they introspect. They focus on themselves. Now, society is, like, so pent up and built around in so many ways not doing these things. covering up, especially, think about it, industries are built on usually, okay, running away. The easier route. It's not easier, it's an illusion, right? Covering up symptoms, if anything. It's an illusion that energy is not still moving forward. If you have something you have dissonance with and you're masquerading that thing is not disappearing, okay? It's just building out in a new direction. That's where people and societies and, thank you, Mandy, for tuning in. Love and light to you. Thank you for your donation. Thank you for everybody's support here. Love and light to you guys. This is where like industries, they're built around wanting to make things so-called easier for you. How does an industry know what's easier for you as an energy body? And again, we have to extend that as well to friends, family. No one really knows what's right for you. And when people come through and like say like, oh my God, and we cannot demonize those people and those frequencies, right? It's just that that's where they're at. Would I love for Hector to be like on my wavelength with this, like change I'm making in my life? Yeah. But if he's not, or if they're not, or if it's not, or if I'm not, because Hector could be a reflective point for myself, muse me, that's okay. Doesn't make Hector anything. And so let's clear it in the heart chakra. Sometimes we need to take time and be sort of like so-called odd. And people who like don't really see you in your transformation, sorry. They're not you though, love and light. Let's clear it and ground. Yeah. And some of you may have really like toxic family members or relatives and friends who just are not and it's not because they are anything. It's because of where they have limited themselves. So as a light worker, you're here to make massive change happen. What that means is not anything in particular, because the change you make is personal for you. But it's honesty, it's authenticity, it's where you are brave to be continuously in a state of perpetual change. And again, a lot of people are uncomfortable with that idea. Think about it, like humans want to subsist on what feels like comfortable and safe and survival. It's like there are a lot of sheep, you guys, love and light. There are a lot of sheep. Okay, yeah. And people who know that, they know they're kind of sheeping around. They're just following like, because they're not, it's like they're not exercising their muscle of independent thinking, you guys. Let's clear it. Not just thinking though, also vibrationally. To be vibrationally independent and say, you know what, like, I don't care what is what has been. I'm going to branch out and create a new way of being, even for myself. So that's where you have to keep fluid. That's where you have to keep, reinventing yourself and rediscovering yourself, and don't let anybody define you. Like people are going to get really stuck in their life at certain points in time. And like, maybe you're trying to help them, but you also can't get so attached to the outcome of where they're going and where they're headed and try and be like, yo, bro, Michael, no, like this isn't right for you. He's got to understand it for himself. And that's where, but Spirit this message that I was getting earlier this morning was that this can come through in situations that it can come through anywhere. Sometimes you realize I'm the one holding myself back here. Okay. And it can be in relation to your success. People who are successful doesn't mean that they're honest, by the way, right? It doesn't mean that they're honest. They can be highly intelligent. They can be highly this, highly that, very successful. They could be in the limelight, blah, 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 and blah, blahs. But authenticity, okay, is not anything that is particularly, it's not stagnating. You can meet someone who's like everything and it's nothing to you because you're not feeling it, right? And that's where you got to just remember yourself is not anything in particular, but as a constant storyline that changes, right? So don't be afraid to change. Like, and that's where people, yet again, may kind of be uncomfortable with that concept for themselves. And then they're like trying to impose it on you. Don't be ashamed that you're brave. And, I had to like remind my family, like this whole week, like, hello, I'm a light worker. I'm a star seed. I'm not here to just like keep the same storyline going that has been, okay, for lifetimes. Just because that's uncomfortable for somebody else to hear doesn't mean that it's not your personal truth. That's where the boundaries come through. You have to be brave. And, you know, again, it doesn't make them not good. It's like, oh my God, it would be so nice if you were like this and that and that and that by now. It's like, what the fuck does that mean? Are you, oh, you're still living in time and space? Okay. You guys, we all know how it is if you are to listen to someone who is not you and live a life according to what that person feels you need to do, rather than feel your way through. That turns into resentment. It's like, do you want me to resent you? Okay, you guys, like, that's where we gotta get, like, brave. To just clear all the bullshit out of the way. Let's clear it. And it is an illusion. Their higher self wants you to be honest with yourself. Yes. Let's clear it. You know how many times, you know, I mean, sometimes it's just a test as well. You know how many times, like, I've just learned, like, I'm so sorry. I cannot get into this. Okay. I'm seeing people just flip and flop, and one minute they're all like, yeah, I'm all high vibe and like, you know, love and light, but like, I try not to make sense of it, Sangeetha. I try to just be the details. It's just something that's coming within me. I know it's like, the more we try to, let's clear it, yeah. But there is a focus on what it is that you feel at all times. And honestly, that's where, and as a Pisces, as somebody who has a lot of Pisces in my chart, this is why I feel like I can't have kids. Because I'm going to be honest. I get very freaked out, but I also get attached. I get personally, and that's why I also like, it's hard. I don't want to get pets and stuff because it's just like too sensitive. That's also why I, you know, I'm spend more time alone than you know, with people. That's one reason, because I know that also not a lot of people are really fucking dependable, at least right now in 3D world. Okay, so I'm not going to get all wound up. And unfortunately, this also is relating to families, family members. It's like the people who you think are really, that's where we have to say, I have absolutely no expectations in relation to my growth process, okay, when it comes to other people. Because if you're concerned with other people being on your wavelength and all of that, okay, first of all, that's a fear energy, 1. 2, okay, that's taking up bandwidth. You're not going to be able to focus on you with you. Right? So you have to let go of concern. And furthermore, okay, the more honest you are, that's where you will sort of lead the way. But you have to believe in that process. If you're freaked out and like, it can't be, then you'll be in middle ground world, you know? So you want to be like direct, you want to be brave, expect to be seen as weird from time to time. And obviously this is a general video. But yeah, no, I've had to get to that point. And then, you know how many times people come back, you know, and it's like, oh, shoot, man, like, I'm sorry. Like, yeah, you're right. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I've learned to just be like, okay, you don't have to be anywhere. You don't have to be at any energy sort of, you know, level. Your process is not my story. So, but it can be really disheartening for light workers who are feeling kind of alone right now. And you might find that people are experiencing their life. That's what it comes down to. And you get some popcorn, but don't get involved in the movie necessarily, right? Like, yeah, you don't, yeah, I'm seeing someone in a movie theater. It's like, you're going to get all triggered and like, that's it. Where's the director? I need to talk to him. Like, no, right? I mean, we're going to watch a movie, get on with our day. Like, oh, this is what people are going through? Okay. Try to be more in an observation space. Possibly. Always teach a person's tuition, of course. Let's clear it around. You obviously want to be balanced, mind, body, soul. But yeah, I'm just seeing a lot of like framing and like weird shit. Like, people are like, wow, like 1 minute, like, you're so in your power, like you're so in your light, I like commend you and blah blah, or like I support you in what you're doing. And then the next minute it's like they're all strange. They're all strange. And let's clear it and ground. And so it's like kind of, it comes back to where you are at with yourself. It comes back to how, and it's your expectations as well. It's your expectations. And, I don't know. I've just found it's really hard to depend on people. Like, I'm not trying to say that in like a emo way, but like, it's hard to depend on people, like even energetically. Okay. But there's a reason for this. I mean, light workers are going to be born in situations where they're not usually going to be around, like, it's not like light workers, like, rejoice, like, we're all in Bali and, like, throwing around, like, waterfall droplets in the air. This is not usually how it is. I think maybe in some situations, depends. But there's a reason for why we're, usually we'll be in situations where we're going to be needed. AKA, like, like, think about it. If we're doing stem cell, where are they going to put the stem cells? In healthy parts of the body? No, they're going to take the stem cells, they're going to transplant them into, this is my philosophy with star seeds, and they're going to transplant them in parts of the body that need assistance. So it's understood in a way. Let's clear it. But that doesn't mean like, okay, I got to be like away from my family and away from my friends. Maybe it's for certain points in time, it feels right. It feels real for you to, reconnect with certain people in certain ways. So let's clear it. But don't be disheartened. Like, if your friends are falling apart from the seams with you, like, it's weird. Oh, they don't trust me anymore. They don't agree with me anymore. Or, it's like, it's a test. How much do you believe in yourself? Were you relying on that person's, like, perspective? Even if it is good, right? Hence also why love bombing is not appropriate. Okay? It's also a form of manipulation, not just like not showing affection strategically, but also showing so much affection. So, I think it really comes down to releasing the grip. And this is where we may realize where we subconsciously stand in our social reality. Are we still riding on like expectations? Like, and even if it's nice, like, I'm glad to have someone who, like, is supporting me in what I'm doing. Like, but then are we going to use it as a crutch? Like when Molly or Simon or Samson decides to like not, do our dishes for us? I don't know what that's going to. Like, we have to be energetically brave and independent is what I'm hearing. Brave and independent. Let's clear it around. Let me look in the chat. Yeah, like, it's just like strange. Like, suddenly they just like activate, Hey, Curtis. Aw, I'm so happy to hear that, Curtis Moonflower. Yeah, I'm so happy to hear that. Let's clear it around. And sometimes, sometimes it's like, you just have, it's like, how do we say, you have to kind of, I don't want to say the bigger person, but like, you have to like look at it like, okay, they're not really knowing what they're talking about as well necessarily. Let's get down to it. No one really knows anything. This universe is not based on knowledge. It's based on emotion, on feeling, on the reciprocity of that with you and your higher self, right? How do we mirror authenticity ultimately is what it comes down to. So only if you are being honest or not. That's where the illusion comes through, and that's where society is so strange and being like, these are the rules and this is how what you should do and how you should do it. And because it's also like obviously politically charged, and all of that comes back around as well to the concept of power and money and yada yada, and industries built upon this fabrication of like information and knowledge, and but there's really no one way or truth to be. And actually, people develop issues when they're living based on society and they're not being honest. That's where the resentment builds. And that could even be you with your job. You could end up resenting that fucking industry. So honestly, energy doesn't disappear. I think that's what it comes down to. And your spirit, your self-reflection point is eternal. And we just sort of mirror it through so-called time and space in these different dimensions in these different ways. So if someone is trying to tell you, period, if they're trying to fit you in any box, that's a very clear check point for you to know, okay, this person, number one, is not in alignment. Why would somebody try and tell someone who they are? Okay. Number two, okay, yeah. And so there's a lot of judgment going on, and that's where it has to just kind of like, yeah. But, and then number two is, what am I doing also if I am still admiring or acknowledging this person's story? And honestly, this is someone maybe who, let's clear it, someone who gave you like so much like praise at a certain point. It could be your parents, it could be your friends, it could be your professor, but the minute that you are, not on their story, then you're controversial or you've got a problem or something. Well, for some of you, this can be a narcissistic energy. That's conditional love, right? If somebody like shows you praise only in certain situations and then, then they retract it, that's something kind of narcissistic. But it can also be someone who's just not in alignment. They're still stuck in the program space. But yeah, so it's not like, oh my God, everybody's a narcissist, that is still in the sheep world. They're just not in alignment, really, entirely, possibly. 222 on the clock right there. Let's clear it and run. And so, but I think Spirit wants us to be aware that it's not like abnormal for us to get into these conversations as light workers and to come across people who are not in their light. And that's especially, and that's where it gets, kind of like, we have to just say, well, as a doctor, what are you expecting? To be having like, everyone healthy coming through your office? Like, hey, I'm healthy. I just want you to like, hopefully, but as a doctor, you understand, as a surgeon, you're not operating on healthy people, so-called healthy, right? This is the metaphor, love and light. But the understanding as a light worker is that you're going to come into contact with frequency that is needing to be brought higher, right? So we, as light workers, we need to do much deprogramming as well of where we see ourselves in society. We are not society. That's like a huge like illusion. Okay. And the illusion of how do we like make sure we connect to society in like a meaningful way? Like, what the fuck? Like, who are we even then? How do we get here? This is so silly. It's like a play then. Well, wait, what's my outfit for the play? Really? Life is so much harder with clothing on, you guys. Let's clear it around. It's a general video, by the way. Watch it on the news. Suddenly, swarms of people running out naked. What the hell? But hey, like, it's, trust me, much harder to swim with like clothing on. It's so much more easy to just be yourself. And that's where you really connect to people, like, in a much more deep and meaningful way. Like, think about it. You could have sex with someone and not even feel that shit, you guys. How many times? I'm gonna put a poll here. Have you ever been physical with someone? I'm just gonna say that, no, the full question. Have you ever had sex with someone and felt numb? I put the poll. So, like, society that comes through and is all like, oh, it's all about, like, sex and, like, yada yads. Okay? It is so not. What is sex, you guys? What? And that is just a mirroring. I think that every connection you have in a form, in some sense, is like sex. That's why I'm careful who I interact with. Because everything, if you think about everything, like, it's like sex. Because what is sex? Sex is obvious. I mean, obviously, it's much more intense on the chakra level. You're opening yourself up like way more, right? But energy exchange, exactly. So the mirroring out of like society Okay. Saying, well, it's like so important. Like, it's so desirable to be somebody who's like having sex and like being this and being that, and having a lot of friends and like yada yada, and having like a high paying job and like a powerful career, blah blah. Like, it's all the same kind of notion. It's like not really what it is. It's how you feel in those connections. Be it your connection. Okay, like think about it. You're having sex with your job. You're going to your job every day. You're doing it every day. What does it feel like? Okay, you can go to your job every day and feel numb as well, right? So it's all energy. Let's clear it and ground. It's all energy. And yeah, and your libido, so called, your sexual energy is really creative energy. And it really does come back to how you channel that frequency knowingly. And that's not what companies want you to feel or know or think or believe you even have the capacity to do. They don't want you to be in control of your creative frequency. Are you kidding? That would not be very profitable for them. Doesn't mean like consumerism is just bad. Nothing is bad. Nothing is anything. It's about you as a controlled story telling yourself out and through. Is this something I resonate with? Great. Nothing is inherently negative or positive. It doesn't mean sex is bad. Doesn't mean getting physical is bad. Doesn't mean having a so-called job is bad. Right? But it's what you make of it. And in your heart, truly, like if something is in alignment, you'll feel good doing whatever that thing is. Okay. If it's not in alignment, you'll end up feeling something is off, something is weird, something is not really quite connecting. You know what I mean? So let's clear it around. And let's get down to it. You don't really have to have sex, you guys, right? Even really, truly. You can have yeah. How many of you, I'm gonna put another question. I'm gonna by the way, we got 85% yes. I'm gonna put another poll. Interesting, Yana. Sometimes I feel as well with sex, like if you're too much in the mind, okay, then you're not gonna, it's like an access. It's like you're not gonna be flowing. So hold on. What was the question I wanted to ask? What is up? Like I keep getting distracted. What was the, let's clear around. What were we gonna ask? It was right. I said something very specific right before I said let's do a poll. Well, what did I say? You guys, this came through in the Aries reading with the senile energies. What was I saying? So we're like, I don't know. We're senile right there with you. Oh, right. You don't need someone for sex. Yes. Oh, thank you. Someone's fucking paying attention. Sheesh. Sober girl's also sober and still can't remember. Well, let's clear it. I'm like, no, you guys, this is, I'm like, all right, let's see. That's clear and wrong. Love and light. So how many of you, it sounds so confrontational. Let's clear it. I had trouble in class too, sober girl. It depends. Like, how many of you, I don't really like the concept of education in this present day, but anyways, let's get back to it. Maybe we'll talk about that another time. How many of you have had an astral out of, I'm going to do and or out of body sexual experience that was powerful? Sounds kind of creepy, like to ask, but go for it. I have not. Some people call it astral sex. Let's clear it around. I have had more intense astral experiences than physical. Sometimes it's like physical is just like, you feel like it's just very silly and very, sloppy energetically. It's like you don't know where you're going. Like, and that's where it really comes down to it. That thing you're connecting to, what is it to you actually? Is it because like, oh, he's a hot dude and like society told me this is where I'm supposed to be at in my life? Like, but I'm not feeling anything. I don't really feel hot. I feel cold. Yeah. Look at how you actually feel. 81% have had. I'm not saying that you should do this, by the way. You should be careful with astral experiences. It's not. Sometimes you can get really ungrounded. Same with meditation, astral, traveling. You got to be careful with that. Sometimes you can really get kind of like, it's happened to me before. You really, it's like, whoa, wait a second. Where am I? You're like on this grid and it's all like, and let's clear it. Yeah. So, but I have had crazy intense astral experiences with people who are nowhere near me that I've never even met. Okay. And so way more intense than someone that I was with in 3D. Right there, right next to me. Okay. So, and I think that tells you a lot. Like, are you having like mental sex? Because it could be physical, but it's mental. What you're connecting to in that moment is the idea of what this is, the idea of who that person is, the idea of what this interaction means. Okay. So sometimes, and I do believe that this is part of why certain manifestations don't manifest in 3D. Okay. When it comes to certain people connections, because, well, sometimes it's like, how do we say? If you have it so easily, then you won't try and make it something on a deeper level. So I do believe that light workers are physically for a reason, so they can work the other frames of their perspective. And that could be in the sense of saying, so we understand what we want to, because light workers are we hold very intense energy currency, and spirit, this is strategic. So if spirit's not going to have us going all holly jolly with a lot of people here physically. Like, we need to know what we want to manifest. So, and yeah, let's clear it, because we also, we are here to manifest. So think about it. When we're physical with someone, we're creating something with that person. Hence why it's really important as well who you're getting physical with, I think, but it's not for me to say. You make your decisions always. But like, yeah, it is seriously like a manifestation. So I think that as light workers, because we are also mega manifestors, we have to be aware of what we're connecting to. Okay. Yeah. We've all had those moments, you guys, where we're just like, we're technically in it, but we're not in it. We're not in it. But that's also a safety mechanism, right? Think about it. Well, it just doesn't work. Like, how many times have you tried, okay, to like, and it's just not happening? That's a safety mechanism, because that's something that it's not really, think about it. If you're really flowing, you're creating something there. Your heart, your soul, your whole, mind, body, soul is in it. If you're not feeling that flow, you're not really wanting to manifest in that situation. You guys, it's kind of abstract, but you guys see what I'm saying? So there's a reason for that. I think if you're too much in the mind, it's not like I have to get out of my mind. No, like, you've got to unravel. You got to unravel and understand, wait a second, if I'm not really feeling like this is what I really am just kind of like already experiencing, if we're quite honest, do I need to get anywhere to like, yeah. Wait, why is it somewhere that I need to go, that I need to get to? Right? I'm not already there? Right? I feel like yeah, so see what I'm saying, you guys? Just an Astro talk, ain't it? Astro. Clear ground. So it's like, look, you know, you know, it's like, yeah, so it's like, sober girl's like, that's it. Well, all right. Clearing ground on the floor. It's like, if I am not already there, like, let me introspect as to why I am here. Let's clear around. But yeah, society is so like, they're just like, oh, it's something wrong with you, or this is wrong, or that's wrong, it's wrong, it's wrong. It's like, what? Yeah. So this might be another message, you know. There's a whole experience that is there happening in those moments. That is something actually really important. And so you want to make sure, though, that you're in alignment in those moments. And that holds as well astrally. For those of you who have a lot of Neptune in your chart, you want to be careful with astral sex. I'm just going to come out and say it. Because, yeah, no, because you could be connecting to all kinds of like frequencies and entities. And it could be really ungrounding. Again, it doesn't make it something negative. It's just a matter of how you interpret that experience in that moment. Maybe it's not the right time. Maybe it's not in alignment with you as well. So, I don't know. That could be a very particular message. Let's clear it. Let's clear it. Let's clear it. Yeah. But yeah, I've had crazy experiences. I knew somebody here in Nepal. Oh my God. It was like, and I met this person online. I don't know why I have all these like weird stories about meeting people online, but hey. Anywho's, so this person, I hope they don't mind me sharing this, whatever. You know, we had like a crazy Reiki experience. It was across the miles, y'all. I've never met this person in 3D, but it was so intense. I know we've had past lives. There's no question about that. But, you know, but they're a Reiki master as well. They're a Reiki healer and yeah, so heavy meditator and these things. So, but still, like, that was an experience that was, you know, something really eye-opening. Like, because then I'm like, whoa. Because then you have these other experiences where you're like physically there with this person, you're having sex or whatever. What is sex yet again? Let's just say conversation. Conversation is also kind of like sex. You're exchanging energy, right? It's all attention. So, and yeah, it's like you feel it's very dry. It's very flat. It's very like crackery. Like when you're with that person, do they turn you on actually? Do you feel like you're actually stimulated? And that's where the joke comes through of like, oh fuck, I gotta like hit her. No. I'm so sorry, you guys. I'm gonna type. I'm gonna get honest. I'm typing right there in the chat. Yep. Oh my God, what is she saying? Is that really her saying this? We've all had those moments. It's not about that. It's not about where. It's about what. Okay? It's about what. Let's clear it. Stimulation, think about it, is energy. If your aura, if you are stimulated in terms of frequency, if your energy sort of grid is lit up, that's where the magic really fucking happens. And all these guys were like, I need to be all like macho and like it's like about, you know, and even like, oh, it's not about size, it's about the motion of the ocean, all of that too as well. Like, We need a really big windshield wiper. Love and light, no comment. It's okay, but it is not about these things, you guys. You want to turn someone on, you don't turn them on, okay? It already is on. You know what I'm saying? It's not about, oh, we click and it's me and them, and then it's like we do it together as well. And if you want to really meet your so-called twin flame, you've just got to be in the now with yourself in the moment. When we have too much pressure of we need to go somewhere, we need to create something, we need to be something, it needs to happen with this person, that's where we're detached, we're disconnected, and that's where sometimes it's better to be alone. Sometimes it's better to be you with you and not so-called have sex and not be with someone and be so-called single. Because if it's not going to be real for you and it's going to take you more outside of yourself, we've all had those experiences as well, where being in a relationship did not serve us. If anything, it made us feel like more polarized, more detached from who we really are. Oh my God. I see you playing a harp really fast, sober girl. Yeah. So you know what I'm saying. It's all frequency, guys. It's quite simple. It's really quite simple. And so don't let society in a very simple way make you feel like you need to be in or out of tune. Okay, I'm in or out of shape. No. I met this older Scorpio man. Okay, very wise. You know, and he would say, you know, it's like he is not. This man had more, you know, force. You could tell when people are, how do we say, like they have virility, right? How do we say? We did not have an experience, you guys. Just heads up. But you could feel it when someone is vital. Okay, an older man, but he was understanding of his flow state. Okay, so that's where we gotta just get really, and honestly, it's unattractive. Like you can be with someone who's so-called macho and they're so-called in their physical know-how body. I know how to do like yada yads. It's like, but you know, truly, that's not a turn on. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's not a turn on. So I think it's about energy, guys. And it's about connecting. This is the main question. When you connect to this person or another person, are you able to then connect to yourself? It's the illusion that it's like me and this person, and then it just ends right there. It ends with that person. I'm giving them my energy, and then they're giving me theirs. That's the illusion. If it's, yeah, let's clear it. It has got to be reciprocal and constantly in motion. That's where we feel flat when we're with someone, where we feel like it's about them. We got to give them our energy, and they have to give us their energy, and then we have to like validate each other. We've all had those relationships as well, where we felt really lonely in the relationship. We felt bored. We felt depressed. So let's clear it. It's about, where do you feel energized? Not because you feel energized when you're with that person, but because you are energized. You are in your light. You're in your authenticity, your frequency zone of being true and raw with you. And then that person or that space or that experience that comes through is so much in alignment, ultimately with their faith principle, I'm hearing, with their truth and their light and their honesty, that you guys are just holding the space of honesty. Oh my God, Nat, it's too much. Weren't we just talking about O's? Cheerios. Cheers. Yeah, no, we were just cheers it out. Let's clear the ground. You know what I mean, you guys? So I don't know. This is a particular message. Those of you feeling like, why am I not like having, you know, the O or like the sags and like, you know, Spirit wants you to know that your energy is also divine. It's precious, and where you put it is important. Spirit's not going to have you connecting with people who are not in alignment, with you. And that's just that, you know? And it's an illusion of like, oh, I'm withering away, I'm not having sex, and like all this stuff. That's so baloney, you guys. Read about conserving the creative energies. Okay. That's your currency, your creative energy. Again, I want to remind you, I'm going to put in the chat again, darn. Let me just put it in the chat again. The poll. I'm going to put the poll. And I think that truly sex and these things, they are a vehicle for manifesting. That's really what. So I think it's a matter of time that we start looking at relationships as different than just like, oh, holly jolly, I'm dating so-and-so and he's an Ivy League, professor. I don't know. Take it as you will. It's not the image of the relationship. I think, let's clear it. So Spirit wants light workers to be more aware maybe of what the relationship concept means. And the more clear we get on that, the more we will manifest what truly is in alignment with us. So those are, yeah. How many, okay. How many of you have been in a relationship that made you feel what? Hold on. I'm just going to say, have you been in a relationship before where you felt empty in the relationship? Kind of weird, but I'm going to pull it. So many times it's like, you're in a relationship and then you feel empty. You feel sad. You feel depressed. You feel awkward. You feel clunky. You don't feel real anymore. And that is a huge clue that it's not about just the relationship. Something is happening on that level. You're not in resonance maybe with what you're manifesting with that person. Interesting. Oh, wow. You left? I see, Erin. So, yeah. We're manifestor machines, guys. And, we're basically, we're not here to just fill the so-called void. That's the illusion. We're not lacking anything. So if people look at you and they're just like casting these weird energy sort of frames on you, oh, look, you're lonely, you don't have anyone, blah, 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 blah. That's the illusion, okay? And I straight up told these people, listen, I don't want to be, they're, oh, it's so like unfortunate that you're like not married. I look straight at that person, excuse me. I think the exact opposite about you, to be quite honest. I think that the fact that you're married, it's such a shame. No judgment, love and light, but I'm talking a very specific situation. You can obviously be so-called married. Again, it's not about the thing. It's not about the fact of. It's about what it feels like. Nothing is inherently negative. Nothing is inherently negative. But I turn straight to that. I could say the same thing about you. What a shame that you weren't able to really find yourself. Oh, you had to run it and get married? It's to try and find meaning in your life? Love and light. Love and light. But we have to get honest here, like with the perspective. And honestly, what it comes down to is authenticity. The perspective of being honest with yourself. Yeah. So kick back at it, you guys. Don't be ashamed to just like kind of just do one thing that's very, very simple. Be honest. Let's clear it around. But there's no one way to be honest. And that, again, comes back down to it. Maybe, you know what, at a certain point, you want to get married. You want to have kids. You want to do. There are also, restricting thought form in even new age groups and these things. And I think anything that has like an absolute to it, how can we say anything is absolute? That defies the law of authenticity. We have all vibrations in this universe. It's up to you to understand who really is what to you. I'm hearing that as well. What aligns with you truly? There are no absolutes. We can never know for certain. And if I were to do a private reading for someone, I always say, if I do a private reading, I really don't like to do private readings as well, because it's almost like too much focus. It's like, and sometimes Spirit, you want to tell someone something, but Spirit doesn't want you to be the one to tell them that. They want that person to figure it out on their own. So it's kind of like, that's why I love doing the public readings, because it's what you make of it. You have to come in and define your story for yourself. And so, but if I would do, which I don't do private readings anymore, really, mostly, unless it's through the lens of astrology. If you order an astrology service, then I will accompany that with a reading. But with your particular transit at that time. But I would always tell them, hey, like, this is you with you, though. You have to, this is your story. This is your story, and you have to interpret it in your way. So, totally. So, yeah. There's sometimes too much perceived ego in the personal readings as well, where people, it's just awkward. It's like, I like it more anonymous, where, because and then people like associate you with the answer. It's like, no, bro, okay? Like, and then they're like, they want a very specific answer. It's like, no, I'm not gonna. It's like, you want, what is this reading for? To just like validate your ego? Bro, we're here to release the ego. We're here to release the ego. Well, I feel like people need to like apply to really be in a space to do a private reading, but in a way. Like, what is marriage? Truly frequencies within the stones. I see what you wrote here. You said, my chart showed me I won't marry again. What is marriage? You could be married and not even be married, really. What is marriage? It all is what you make it, right? You cannot be married, technically, and be truly married. That connection, it's about the connection. It's the bond. It is the perception. It's all perspective. You could be married and not see yourself as married as well. Or you could not be married and you could see yourself as married. Let's clear it around. Sometimes you can feel married to someone and you're like, why do I feel married? You might have been married in a past life. So like, what is really, you know what I'm saying? It's energy. You have to understand, what do I actually want? What do I actually align with? Do I feel like I want to have a connection with this person? If so, in what way and to what degree? What capacity? How real is this story for me? And at what time? In what way? So I think that, we're going to be really seeing a lot of different storylines here. And it's interesting that these themes are coming up because Venus is now moved into Scorpio and it's the ruler of Libra. And we have, this very strong focus on Libra coming up. Mars just entered Libra. Mercury's in retro in Libra. So it's like, what are relationships really? And maybe, you're observing how others are going through these experiences, how they're working with a concept of relationships, partnerships. There could be a lot of spiritual awakenings as well here, where people suddenly realize, whoa, I don't want to be in this relationship. What am I doing? Like, it's not real for me. I want to pull a few cards on that. What can we expect with this period here? The Hangman. Oh, fuck yeah. Ace of Wands in reverse. We're going to be having massive spiritual awakenings when it comes to what we really want. Like, and some people may feel like, whoa, oh my God, this defies the law of like what I said and what I did and what I promised myself. Death card, Page of Cups. Like, if something wasn't real for you, it's going to come out. It's going to come out, you guys. The Venus in Scorpio, Mars in Libra. Damn, you know what? I kind of want to start doing a series. Where we do like particular pockets of transits. Because, like, for example, Venus and Scorpio, as it overlaps with Mars and Libra, will be very particular, very profound. Knight of Cups upright. Yeah, we're going to have epiphanies here. People are going to really be, Justice upright, Nine of Pentacles upright. We're going to be seeing stuff. Nine of Cups in reverse, Nine of Pentacles upright. Yeah, let's clear it. I'm hearing Starseeds, Page of Cups. Some of you are going to be also reconnecting with soulmates. So, you guys, thank you for tuning in. Love and light to you. We're going to get into further series. Hopefully we'll start a Mercury retrograde cycle soon. And you guys, thank you for your donations. Love and light those of you who donated in Super Chat. Thank you guys for your support. And stay grounded here. We'll see you in the next videos. And try not to get too wound up in what others are experiencing during this time as well. Let's clear it around. Yeah. Try to reconnect. Keep meditating. Bye, guys.